Well, joining us on the show today is a true visionary in African media. He's the host and creator of the acclaimed talk show and podcast WithChude, and has redefined storytelling by fostering open, heartfelt conversations with some of the continent's most influential voices. Beyond the screen, Chude Jideonwo is the CEO of Joy Inc., a pioneering company dedicated to human flourishing, and the co-founder of Red for Africa, a media group that has played pivotal roles in political campaigns and social movements across the continent. His documentary work, including the award-winning Awaiting Trial, has shed light on pressing social justice issues. And to celebrate the 5th anniversary of his show, he'll be bringing together cultural icons like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Funke Akindele, Jerry Eze, and Bovi Ugoma for the WithChude live talk concert. Please welcome with me to the show, Arise 360, Chude Jideonwo. Sorry, I'm so excited. It's like I'm sitting in front of someone that I have watched my entire career. Thank you so much for coming here. I know you have a very busy schedule, so I appreciate you. Thank you. So I want to just start with, I think one of the first interviews that I watched that you did was back in 2011, where you scored one of your very first major sit-downs. I believe it was with the president at the time, Goodluck Jonathan, at the time, when most young journalists would never dream of such access. Can you just, when you look at yourself now and all the interviews you've done after, and you cast your mind back to that, how did that experience transform your confidence, your technique in asking difficult questions, and ultimately setting the stage for everything that you've built since?
I've not spoken about the Goodluck Jonathan interview in so long, so that's a good research get. You know how this work is. I think that most of the things that formed my career were formed long before that. But what the Goodluck Jonathan interview did was give me incredible confidence in the value of my work. And this is why I say so. I was literally called up one day by, of blessed memory, Oronto Douglas, who was a special advisor to the president. And we've seen your work, we admire your work, we want to do this. Now that blew my mind. I remember I was around where Maryland Mall was, and I don't think Maryland Mall was already created. So that's how you know how pivotal the moment. I was driving, somebody calls me, I'm like, who is that? I'm the special assistant to President Goodluck Jonathan. I'm like, how does this even happen? I didn't write any proposal, I didn't do any pitch. It was just the work we were doing with Wire Niger. So that is one of those things that made me realize, it's one of the special guests coming for the WithChude Live on the 27th of April. And my friend, my co-founder, Debola at Red Media, met him. And I said, I know Chude. I saw that he did X, Y, Z, and I was a reminder that you don't need to pay attention to what other people are saying or doing. Yeah. You do what is important to you. And the people that need to pay attention will pay attention. That's what I remember at the Goodluck Jonathan interview. And we spent hours with the president, and there were things that he said that I can't even reveal until I write my book when I'm about to leave this world. That's how much access I had as a 24, 25-year-old. Yeah, so it was powerful.
Okay, so, and this was in 2011?
Yes.
2011, I remember I saw it. And looking back at your career, you just turned 40.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
40
you.
years, and your media career has been 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, you started at the age of 15, when most of us were still trying to know what jam is even saying.
I was doing jam by the time.
But I mean, you started early, and if you look back at your career, what would you say were those maybe early mistakes that molded you to become who you are? I mean, you interviewed Jonathan in 2011. Yeah. That is what was I doing? But what were those early mistakes that molded you to become who you are today?
I would say you guys are going hard with the questions today. I love it. Early mistakes. I think one was not trusting the power of my talents. So I'll say, I just shared a screenshot last week of Uche Pedro, the CEO of Bella Niger. Yeah. In 2007, Uche put up a post on her blog, it was on Blogspot then, saying Chude was the best interviewer in the country. This was Uche, this is not me. So, and people said that. I remember that Chimamanda Adichie is one of our guests. I had done an interview for her on This Day newspapers, and she said the same thing. Yeah. And Mutabakari of Farafina said the same thing. But you know what? I didn't believe any of them. Wow. I thought they were just trying to encourage a young guy who was working hard. I mean, everybody could see that I was driven and I was hardworking. So each time I got praise, I didn't believe it. And so I thought that these people were lying to me. Surely I cannot be this talented. And so I need to go and find a real career. This honestly, like, this interview is not a job. You're going to die of hunger in Nigeria. So I went and formed the business, which I'm grateful for. Yeah. But then I wonder if I had had enough confidence in this singular talent, and I had believed the feedback of the people who were watching me, where would this talent have taken me today? There are no regrets, but there's only wondering. You know, and so when I see young people today and they're trying to adjust to fit me or people older than me, I always say, listen to your own voice. Have confidence that your unique talent will find a path.
Fantastic. You see, you've already started. And I agree 100% with Uche Pedro. I really do believe that you are one of the best. Like, anytime I watch you, I'll say, what did this guy do? Why they always cry? Like, you just, I've told my friends before that I don't know if I'll be able to go there. I feel like I'll just tell all my life secrets if I sit down with you. Right. And you're known for balancing warmth with rigor. You know, you're very warm, but you know how to bring out, those answers. What would you say is there one conversation that echoes in your mind, where the guest's honesty or the topic's depth fundamentally shifted your own perspective, a moment that was so unforgettable that still stays with you after interviewing so many people?
These questions, I'm loving them. Okay, because they're making me think. It's not like, how if you do interviews a lot, you start gliding through, but these ones are like, no, Chude, you can't fake it. You have to think through. A number of them, I think that one was the Joke Silva interview. Yes, that was the one that I think had announced us to the world. And the reason it shifted my perspective was that it taught me patience. It taught me the power of talent. So I tell people what happened. Auntie Joke I will always remember her because she had given me this interview. She had never spoken about Uncle Olu before, and she had no reason to, And I asked the question because it's my job to ask. Yeah. I might think you're not going to answer, but it's my job to ask. As I thought she wasn't going to ask. And then she answered. And if you watch that video, I describe it in my book, you will notice that I was quiet. Like, I thought I was quiet. I was dazed when she was answering this question. But that's not what I learned. And after the interview, I reach out to Auntie Joke and I say, Auntie, I want to be sure that you are ready to go with this interview. She says no, that she didn't plan to talk about it. She hadn't even discussed it with her. She didn't. And so she said that she would speak to her family and she would let me know. And then she got back to me and said, I've spoken to my family and they're comfortable with it, but I'm not. This is my husband of decades. You have to be sure. I said, that's fine, I will not publish it, Auntie. We recorded in March. It was back in April, in May, in June, in July, in August. Auntie Joke said, not ready today, not ready today. Wow. September, so I had given up. I'm like, this interview will never go. So in October, I just did my job and just reached out again and said, Auntie, she says, Chude, you can go ahead. Time. I'm telling you. And in all that time, she didn't share that story with anybody else, which means that she thought that our platform was the only platform where this was worth sharing. That taught me not to rush, not to hustle, and what happened was that weekend, Uncle Olu now did their brief appearance. It was not planned. I didn't even know that he had appeared. About that. It was not planned. Yeah. So I'm not on social media, so I didn't know that had happened. So she just said yes on Thursday. We scheduled it for Friday. It blows up. And so that just taught me never. So I never ever say, what's trending at the moment? Let me go and interview somebody for that. No, I realized that the gift that I had been given is to tell stories regardless of the time or the season. And that was so powerful for me. I think she might just have transformed the way I do my work.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about the interview, it's pinned on your YouTube page. I think that has the highest views actually.
Yes.
Okay, now
it doesn't, but it's my favorite.
It was your favorite, okay, because I know it's pinned on your YouTube page. Yeah. Now, starting with Chude, like, was there a personal experience that made you start this particular content? And why I ask that is because you've been around for a long time. You've been in media for 25 years, but with Chude gave you more online presence. It gave you that face. People in media would know you. Yeah. People outside the media will be like, okay, they may ask who's Chude. But with Chude gave you that online presence. Was there a personal experience that made you come up with this content? So you know what, I want to give people the platform to open deeper wounds and actually bear it all.
It's such a there is, but it's interesting because I used to host Robbie Minds with on chat. I used to host Robbie Minds. And then one day I was interviewing somebody, I think it was Two-Face or someone, and I was prying into his life and I didn't feel comfortable. And I thought, why am I doing this? And I realized that the format was not for me. And I've been getting criticism.
platform,
Yes, I've been getting feedback on social media. Why is he dressed like this? And I thought, you know what? I need to find somebody who will kill this show. And there was only one person. And even these days, there's still only one person for several shows. It was Ebuka. Went to Ebuka with dinner, convinced him, he did the show. So I said, I know I want to be an interviewer, but I hadn't found my own space. And I was willing to wait until I found that space. So what happened, scratch to 2017, I was trending on Twitter for 3 days. You don't trend on Twitter for 3 days for good reason.
Yes, actually, not for a good reason.
I'd written an article on Quartz, the international magazine Quartz, on why Africa's young voters are voting for old men. I know people have not forgotten that I was part of the 2015 election. So they're like, what do you mean? But you are the one that caused it. So being so foolish, I went and responded to them. Fire. For 3 days, I was waking up every morning and I was devastated. I was worried about my reputation. I was worried about my brand, my work, my team, my company. And so I went on YouTube and Googled what to do when people hate you.
Wow.
Yeah. And what happened was I saw an interview that Oprah was having with Brené Brown. Brené Brown is a researcher on shame and emotion. And they were talking about what happened after she faced backlash. And after watching that interview, it healed me. It just shifted my perspective about public backlash and criticism and feedback. And so I said that morning, I said, I want to do a show one day that a person like me would go on YouTube and Google a life problem, and a conversation on my show would be the answer to that problem. That is literally what birthed WithChude.
Fantastic. Now, since we're talking about WithChude, and we know that you're celebrating 5 years of that, and on the 27th of April, you're having that live talk concert. Yes. You're bringing Chimamanda Adichie, Bovi, Jerry Eze, Funke Akindele. I mean, such powerful people. Talk to us about that. What should people expect on the 27th of April?
Right. So there's even more guests than that. So we added Falz the Bad Guy is now one of our main stage interviews. So there's that, and then we have a panel with Vicky James and Kiki and Ebuka and Taoma and Moses Bliss and all of that. Now, what people are expecting, I tell them this what happened. Many of these people have been my friends, not all, for years. And I want to protect them. I try to protect all my guests, like I said with Auntie Joke. So I sat down with them for 2 hours to discuss this event, minimum. And I asked them, are there any no-go areas? They said, no, Chude, I trust you.
Actually, because it's live.
Yes, because it's live.
Yeah.
And I asked them, I said, should we rehearse? It's a concert, so it's permitted. Let's rehearse, let's find it. They said, no, Chude, I trust you. One of them said, I want the truth of my life to change other people's lives. I don't want to mention who said that. And so that's what to expect. These guests know what my show is about. And they've decided that on this day, they're going to tell life stories that you've never heard before. Wow. That's the brand promise of this event. In addition to that, I decided to do this show when I watched Oprah's Vision 2020 tour with Michelle Obama and Lady Gaga. And the energy in that room, it was like entering a slice of heaven on earth.
It was infectious.
Infectious. And I want us to have that experience as Nigerians, to leave a place feeling like your soul just had a bath.
That's a nice way to describe it.
And just to feel good and warm and empowered, not in a you can make it way, but in a gentle, affirming way. So apart from the fact that there's going to be these revelations that these people are telling because they want to touch people's lives, and people have said I was going to take my own life and I watched an episode with XYZ and I didn't do it. So we see those stories. So these are the mega stage. Yeah. But also we want to create this beautiful experience. There's music, there's magic, there's all these things in between the conversation. That when you leave, you feel like you had a full meal. Yeah.
And it's happening where? It's happening at
the Palms. There's a fantastic multi-convention hall at the back of the Palms that we're introducing to the world. So it's happening there at the Palms in Lekki, 2 p.m., Sunday, 27th of April, Lagos, Nigeria.
Fantastic.
Okay, so one last question, of course, before we go, always like, people like you who have been in the business for a while to actually tell people that are looking up to actually join the media, mistakes to avoid, what to do, steps to take. So that's number one question. Okay. I have a question for my neighbor.
I love it, okay.
Well, so one thing about you that is under wraps would be your love life. Okay. And she was like, does he even have a partner? Like, when we read about Chude, we talk about Chude, we'll watch him on TV. Whenever I hear him talk about family, is there like a person there, or if there's none, then why? Okay. That's number two question. The last question will be your biggest achievement in life so far.
I like that last one. What was the first one?
The first one would be
almost advise people,
coming into the business.
I think, I think it's to have it's to ignore. There's something I did an interview for the Lagos State government yesterday, and I interviewed Auntie Shafi Bello. And she said something powerful. I'm going to be saying it everywhere I go. Only you knows the temperature of your house when you leave the house. Only you knows the temperature of your life. He says if anybody tells you do this, do that, do this, do that, they don't know what you experienced when you left home. You listen to your inner voice. Yeah. What does your own experience and your reality tell you to do? Especially in a time of social media.
I tell you.
It is more important than ever to hear your voice, to listen to it, and to follow it.
To trust it.
And to trust it. I'm telling you, this whole WithChude thing would not exist if I didn't do that. Yeah. So that's what I've learned.
All right, so
the second question.
From your neighbor.
Let's leave the partner answer.
So biggest achievement.
But just the one is that I'm not married. Yeah. People always, well, that's the top search topic I hear on Google. Is Chude Jideonwo married? Yes, so I'm not. And I become comfortable. I decided that when I turned 40, I was going to say it. Yeah. Because as a society, we need to begin to make space for different realities. True. And I became more courageous in the choice because of Oprah, who's spoken openly about it, and people like Bill Maher, who have spoken openly about it. So I realized in my culture of shame, where people like to hide and not talk, maybe if I speak up about that, I just answer the question like it's normal. Exactly. Then people will realize that not everybody wants to have kids and not everybody wants to get married, and it's absolutely okay. Yeah, right. So that's all. Biggest achievement.
As we wrap up,
I think it's having the courage, and I can't say that on TV. Yes, I've done a lot of things, and I'm proud of a lot of things. But the thing I'm proudest of is having the courage to do with Chude. And when I finished doing the 2015 elections, and I've said it in some places, I got offers to join government. The people in government know twice. There were all kinds of opportunities. We were working in Ghana, we were working in Senegal. It was the time to plug in. And that's when I quit. That's when I said, I don't think this is for me anymore. And people thought I had lost my mind.
But that's true, because I wanted to ask, I think there was some time you gave space from Red Media and Red.
I quit as CEO.
You just went back.
Yes. I remember Debola was with the governor at the time. I said, what's Chude doing? I say he's doing joy. He says, Ogenebo joy. Is he okay? And I'm telling you. So, I just knew that my spirit was calling me to something else. And it was scary. Because in Nigeria, government is the biggest spender. That's where prestige comes from. Exactly. To turn my back on that, I said I wanted to do this little podcast. And that it would change my continent. That is my biggest achievement. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chude. We are interviewing you, but I'm still the one living inspired. Thank you for trusting the timing of your life, because that in itself has affected so many other people. And I want to book you down now. When I turn 40 and I'm celebrating my own 20 years, you're the one that's going to interview me.
Let's do it. But you know what I said to you guys? I love your show.
Thank you.
I told you I've watched your show. I was watching it the other day. This is how you know. The other day we were interviewing who was it, and she wasn't on set. And I'm like, oh, where is she?
Okay, that was yesterday.
Just yesterday. And so you guys are doing an amazing job. And the depth of the questions, the understanding of the culture,
Yes.
Look, if nobody has told you, I'm telling you, this is a fantastic show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Well, today we have the new trailer for Tornado, and of course we're going to leave you with that. Before we leave you with that trailer, I'm first going to say goodbye from all of us here in Lagos. I am Sheyiton Atigarin.
And I am Ikenna Onyokolo. Remember to catch us every weekday by 5 p.m. right here on the Rise News channel. So until tomorrow, this has been Arise 360. Thank you for watching.